Hi guys. Oh my gosh, somebody just fell. Marv just fell down. To all of my visual listeners. Because my desk is Christmasified. If you can't see my mini Christmas tree. Sorry, I'm so far from the mic. Christmas tree mug, Peanuts nativity scene, and Marv Funko Pop. Anyway, welcome back to the Now Listening To podcast, hosted by yours truly, Allison Martin, where we take a month-long hiatus before we even reach our 10th episode. I have an episode. If you can hear background noise, my dog is to the right of me. Yeah, the episode probably following this. I already recorded before this episode, but this one's more time sensitive, I guess. Kind of gave an explanation as to why I took some time off of the pod and was a little bit more vulnerable and just kind of talked about myself and my life. Also just going to get ahead of it for all of my visual listeners. Went a little hard on the eyeshadow for a Wednesday afternoon, but especially because I'm going to literally take it off as soon as I'm done. But anyway, today is a very fateful day. It is Spotify Wrapped Day. And to tell you that I have been fighting the urge to see my Spotify Wrapped all day. And part of me was like, oh, I'll just open it. Like, I'm very impatient. So part of me was just like, oh, I'll just see what it is and then, like, pretend on the podcast. I know myself. I'm not that good of an actress. So you should feel honored that I actually waited all day, even though everybody else has been posting on their social media accounts. So anyway. Okay. Now we got the screen recording going, I believe. So let's open Spotify. Hello, where is it? Spotify. Okay. So this episode, I say this every time. I really don't think this episode's going to be so long, like maybe even 20, 30 minutes. But as a prelude, this episode's going to come out first, but my episode kind of explaining why I took some time off of the podcast will be coming. Can I even do Wrapped on here? Now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, that episode will be coming after. I plan to upload every week of December and then figure out my schedule after that. Just because I have a lot of like end of the year ideas. So yeah, today we're doing Spotify Wrapped. So I'm going to do some vague guessing and then we'll see together what's going on. I've got it screen recording on my laptop, so I'll probably shrink down this view. Okay, so basically I'm going to predict, look with you guys what it is, and then after that kind of like get into it a little bit more of like my different eras of music throughout this year. My only predictions that I feel confident in are I became obsessed with Stephen Dawes this year. I discovered him apparently last summer. I think I've mentioned him almost every single episode of this podcast. So if that doesn't go to show kind of like the fixation on his career and his music, don't know what does. But basically I know he's going to be my number one artist, especially from when I did the Spotify stats video, which was this summer. He was like dominating every category, and also like that was only his first EP. He released a second one that I went to New York to see him perform live for a one night only show. I don't live in New York currently, so yeah. I think I'm almost certain he's going to be my number one artist, and would say that probably like my top 5 songs, he's going to be at least 3 of them. Some other people I'm expecting to see in my top 5 artists are Fade, because I got into him this year and like had a serious fixation back for reggaeton this year. And then who else do I expect to see? Maybe Young Miko. I'm not sure. Maybe Young Miko. I don't think Bad Bunny's gonna be in my top 5, but who knows? He didn't release a lot of new music this year, and Nadie Sabe, while incredible, and I'm not dismissing it whatsoever, was not like Nadie Sabe was not what Un Verano Sin Ti was to me, like not to the same caliber. So I don't think that'll be on there. Okay, so what? Who do I have? Steven Dawes. I have Fade, maybe Young Miko, and my last guess would be Steven Sanchez, because I also fixated pretty hard on his music this year. But other than that, I literally have no clue. So going into this blind. But yeah, let's just get into it. I hope that I can do it on my laptop. I don't know if I can. Wrapped. This severe shift in quality, but I don't have a camera and it's not in the budget for the pod right now. So anyway, opening the Spotify app, I just started the screen recording. Yeah, okay. And okay, here goes nothing. Why am I nervous? My Wrapped. Your 2024 Wrap. Jump into your year in audio. Let's go. Oh my god, Royal Otis. I didn't include them in. They might be in my top 5. I hope so, because I love them. Hi, Allison Martin. It's that time of year again. Wrap's ready. Are you? I don't know. Life moves fast. Luckily, we took notes. You listened for 50,994 minutes this year. That puts you in the top 5% of listeners worldwide. Your biggest listening day was February 12th with 775 minutes. Where did you find the time? It was probably at work. You played 2,467 songs this year, and one song again and again and again and again. Want Me by Steven Dawes, is that it? Yep. Your top song was Want Me by Steven Dawes. I'm surprised because Loki. I was in the top 0.001% of listeners globally. Okay, yay. You streamed it 207 times starting on March 1st. Commitment never sounded so good. Yay. Okay, next. While it's not a competition, there is a leaderboard. All 5 of my top songs are 7! Want Me, Up at Night, Happiest Girl were my top 3. Yay. I spent 1,431 minutes listening to podcasts this year. My top podcast topic was comedy. Not surprised. You were in the top 9% of comedy listeners worldwide. Counting down. We're here to help Brooke and Connor make a podcast. And finally, I only watch Brooke and Connor on YouTube. The other 2 I listen to when I run. So I've changed, and so has my listening. Look at your 2024 music evolution. December through Jan. All of the time. Sorry, there's music playing, so I'm going to be singing along. January was my rainy day singer-songwriter phase. You were really into artists like John Mayer, Lizzie McAlpine, and Dominico. Who's that? Feb? That's when I started listening to Steven every waking moment of my existence. February was your surf, crush, slow dance, indie pop season. I was into artists like Steven Dawes in 1975 and The Japanese House. Okay, tracks. Junio. That's when I started listening to reggaeton. Reggaeton again. June was your Heatwave Beach reggaeton moment, which makes sense because that's so summer. Bad Bunny, Karol G, and Fate. Okay. Can it tell me who my top 5 are, though? I listened to 752 artists. But one had a special place in your heart and ears. I wonder who. It's Steven. Steven Dawes was your top artist of the year. Your longest listening streak was 39 days, so over a month. Yay. I'm in the top 0.001% of fans, and I spent 6,158 minutes with listening to Steven. Yay. Who else got to play this year? I am hearing Steven Sanchez, so 3, 2, 1. Let's see who my top 5 were. Steven Dawes, Steven Sanchez, Bad Bunny, Fate, and John Mayer. I did not expect John Mayer to be in the top 5, I'm being completely honest, and I also didn't think Bad Bunny was going to make it. Oh, looks like we have company. Who? Oh my god.
It has been. Started off and released Want Me in March.
That's crazy. Oh, that's so cute. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Until we meet again. So we're going to have to look at my top 10 because the top 5 were all Steven. Sorry, they're playing Fade. I thought Luna was going to be my top 5. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop the screen recording there. That's... Okay, I knew Steven was going to dominate my... Actually, I can switch back to my phone. Give me a second, guys. Okay, so... Let's look at the rest of the playlist. I'm currently laughing at myself because I'm not surprised, but 0.001% of top listeners, that's a new. I don't think I've ever had that even for Harry Styles, and I would argue that Harry was like the biggest obsession of my life. So Steven should take that as a compliment. Anyway, let's get back to screen recording. That's so fucking funny. Good lord. Good lord. All 5 of my top songs were Steven. All 5. All 5. I thought there was going to be at least a little because there were some other songs I fixated on, but hey, yes, of course. I need to record a screen recording. Okay. Record entire screen. Record. Okay. La-di-da-di-dow, la-di-da-di-dow. La-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-dow. Let's go to my rap playlist. Okay, so we're going to unpack this a little bit. And the funniest part to me about all of this is that I still haven't even done my episode on Steven. I have not failed to mention him in every single episode of this podcast. I'm sure, like, if I made a compilation, I could find evidence to support my claim. But yeah, we'll get into it a little bit, I guess. Okay, let's see what my top 10 songs were. Okay, these actually were what I expected. Outside of the top 5, these are actually exactly the songs I expected, which I know I didn't say them, but I expected to see these. 1 was Want Me by Steven Dawes. I thought it was going to be what number 2 is, which is Up at Night by Steven Dawes, because when Steven released that song, I listened to that for 2 weeks straight and no other song. Like, that was it. 3 was Happiest Girl, which is my favorite song by Steven ever, I think. I thought that was going to be higher up, to be honest. But anyway, 4 was Lucy by Steven. 5 was Positive by Steven. And then also Steven, but a different one. 6 was High by Steven Sanchez, which is, I knew that song was going to be because my perfect trio of songs in the winter that I listened to for maybe like 2 or 3 months straight were Want Me by Steven Dawes, High by Steven Sanchez, and then my number 7 spot, Better Than I Know Myself by Del Water Gap. So 8, also one of my fixation songs, Luna by Fate. I knew that was going to be in there. 9, Running Out by Steven Dawes, and 10, Emotional Vacation by Steven Sanchez. So L-O-fucking-L. I'm not surprised by any of these, really. There's some Karol G. Royal Otis only clocked in at the number 16 spot, which was Kool-Aid. Yeah, the rest of them were Chapel Roan, Good Luck Babe, Classy 101, Entertainment by Steven Dawes, Only Girl by Steven Sanchez, Si antes te hubiera conocido con, or de Carol G, Don't Hate Me When It's Over by Steven Dawes, Baby Blue Bathing Suit, Steven Sanchez. If y'all haven't gathered, I'm obsessed with a man named Steven with PH that makes music and is a few months younger than me. Anyway, Espresso was 20. That was the one thing that I was like, they're going to throw some out-of-pocket artists in my top 5 again, and it's going to annoy me. Because last year, Taylor Swift was in my top 5, which, in all fairness, I did fixate on Folklore and Evermore because I'd never listened to them before last year. But, like, this sounds, like, incredibly petty, but I just didn't want it to happen. I barely, like, allowed myself to listen to Taylor Swift this year because I didn't want her to end up in my top 5 again because I don't think it's an accurate reflection of, like, everything that I listen to. Yeah, we've got a little bit of reggaeton in here as well. I'm honestly genuinely surprised that Bad Bunny made my top 5 artists, let alone, like, 3rd place. Some other little shout outs: Bellaqueo by Peso Pluma and Anita, Sorry for That Much by Fade, Hey Girl by Steven Sanchez, Quarterback by Wallows, Agua Salada, which was one of my songs of the week on here, The Edge by Sydney Ross Mitchell. What else do we got? Love It If We Made It, 1975, Boyhood, The Japanese House, Going Kokomo, Royal Otis, Oysters in My Pocket, Royal Otis. Yeah, okay, well, Panama by Sports. Yeah, LOL. Scared of My Guitar by Olivia Rodrigo. That one was a really good one. In His Room, which only came out middle of September, and it's in the top 50. Also by Steven Dawes. Lejos de Ti by the Marias. Yeah. This tracks. I don't really know what else I have to say. I'm shocked, but also I'm not shocked because, okay, let's just do like a little brief recap on Steven before I do the Steven video. I've been putting it off because it was a fixation of mine that got too intense and I need to take a break and be a normal human being for a second. So basically, Steven came on like my explore page on Instagram like summer of 2023, I think, which I didn't know this until later on. But yeah, basically I was going through Steven's old posts and stuff from the start of his career on Instagram like a few months ago. And one of the reels of his, he was like recommending indie music for like a summer playlist or something. One of them was his songs. Didn't realize though that I had saved that post. So apparently I had like started listening to him in summer of 2023 and he just fell off my radar. And then like October, November of 2023, Don't Hate Me When It's Over, which is off of his debut AP, which is The Day We Met, came out. And I fixated on that song because I had an experience that made me relate to that song a couple years late, but still nonetheless. Then that song was on my Like Songs playlist, and I go through phases of where I only listen to the songs on my Like Songs playlist. But I also do have a habit of listening to one song by an artist and nothing else, just that one song. So there were a couple months that I just listened to that song, but then he kept coming up on my Explore page after that, so I followed him. And I was like, okay, I'll give this guy, like, a shot. I'll listen to him. Then I listened to him, and I, like, became obsessed. He kind of, I don't know what about him or his music did this, but I thought someone was here. I don't know what about it, but it like awoke my sense of like the creator sense in me when it comes to music. And he was actually one of the reasons I wanted to start the podcast because I don't know, I just see a lot of myself in him, I guess, and that's why like I've really gravitated towards him as an artist. I want to be friends with Steven so fucking bad. So anyway, and then he released his second EP, Up at Night, which is just also wonderful and excellent. And it's been really cool to see him like figuring out his sound, because he's still really early days in his career, but it's been really cool. And yeah, as for the rest of my listening, Steven Sanchez, also fixated on him. He is an artist of our generation. I think he is incredible. He is so talented. I also saw him live this year, and yeah, very charismatic, knows how to put on a show. Kind of like the theatrics of it was really cool. And very stylized show. I know that he said that he only wants to do like this crooner, like 60s crooner kind of thing for this tour, but it was really cool. And then as for Fate, I think he's actually not to put Bad Bo in the hot seat, but I think he might be on par with Bad Bunny for me in terms of like male reggaeton artists. I really like his music. Luna, like, I fixate on that song so bad. As for my other, I don't know, I literally think this might be wrapping it up. But yeah, anyway, not surprised, a little bit shocked, but not surprised that Steven is, out of my top 10 songs, how many does he have? 5, 6. Okay, 6 out of 10. Yay. Yeah, I don't know. He's just like really inspired the artist in me. I think it's also, again, I'll get into this whenever I end up doing the episode on him, but well, fuck me. I don't know if it was recording that whole time. The low power thing went off on my phone and I didn't notice. But I was recording audio, so you guys will still hear what I have to say regardless. But anyway, yeah. Steven has like awoken some sense of musician and artist in me again. And like I said, it was actually one of like my motivations for starting the podcast again, because I just wanted to talk about music and reignite the musician in me in whatever form that took. So yeah, that guy means the world to me. Had a lovely conversation with him, manifesting the future that I can be friends with him. But what else was I gonna say? I don't really know. I think that might be it. So anyway, from my songs playlist, I will give you guys recommendations. I'm not going to do them in the order because I think the amount of times I listen to a song might not necessarily correspond to how much I like the song. So, the songs of the week. I'm going to do 5 because 3 doesn't seem adequate for this episode. Up at Night by Stephen Dawes is going to be 1. 2, Happiest Girl by Stephen Dawes is going to be 2. I already said 2. 3 is going to be Better Than I Know Myself by Del Water Gap. 4 is going to be Luna by Fade. And what is my last song going to be? 5 is going to be Kool-Aid by Royal Otis. Those are what I would have picked as my top 5 if I could pick. So, anyway. That's it for this episode. Like I said, it was going to be short and sweet, and I kept my word. So, anyway, if you guys enjoyed this episode, I know it was really short compared to literally every other episode I've ever recorded of this podcast. Be sure to like this video, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and turn on the notification bell, especially as I'm figuring out my upload schedule. And what else? If you're listening on Spotify, please follow, and Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please follow and review or rate the podcast 5 stars. It helps me reach more people. And if you're listening on Spotify, also feel free to leave a comment. And lastly, for the promotional spiel, follow Now Listening to Pod at Now Listening to Pod on Instagram, because I post reels. I try to every week. Obviously, November I kind of took a hiatus, which I'll touch on in the episode that comes after this one. But anyway, love you guys always. Thanks for being here through me watching my Spotify Wrapped. Not surprised. I was going to say disappointed in myself. I'm not disappointed. Steven was a huge source of happiness and growth in me this year, so that was really I completely expected it, and also he deserves his flowers tenfold. So if I can be a catalyst for that, happy to help. But anyway, that is all for me, guys. I will catch you in whatever the episode is after this. It's probably going to be the one I filmed before this, so retroactively, I don't know, past Allison will be in the place of future Allison. So anyway, love you guys so much, and I will catch you in the next one. Toodaloo.